Hi everyone, my name is Kate and welcome back to In Bed with Kate podcast. And today we have our next guest, Tia. And today we're gonna discuss a topic that bothers many women across the globe because as we gain economic power and as we have the ability to build the life we want, one way or another, 1 in 3 women are single these days. And that happens because a lot of us, with all the responsibility we have on our shoulders, put up masculine energy. So today we will dive into the concept of feminine and masculine energy, and our relationship sex coach Tia and the author of Sexy Bees Babe podcast will share her wisdom and knowledge with us.
Awesome. I'm excited to be here. This is one of my favorite topics. And I'm going to start off with the reason why is because I am a very type A, high achieving woman, that I am dominantly in my masculine naturally. Like I tend to be the doer, get stuff done, take action. And there was a point through my relationships that I realized, oh, wait, I'm the man in the relationship. I'm the type A. I make the plans, I take the initiative, I lead. And there was a point that I realized that I didn't want to be that. And so I was like, wait, well, how do I start attracting different types of men? So yeah, we'll get into that. But I'm just excited to be here and share all the things.
Thank you so much for your initiative in educating people about these topics because, first of all, nobody ever taught me or other women I know about feminine energy. They tell us we have to look good or we have to be smart, we have to graduate from the university, but nobody tells us what it is to be in your feminine essence and how to be more balanced. So could you please share with us your journey and how you got to the point that now you teach others? Because to be honest with you, there are so many women online can shape beautiful, but not that many of them actually have this feminine sexual energy. And I can feel it even just watching your reels on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I totally can confirm that you've done some works.
Yes, definitely. And I just want to let all the ladies know that there's nothing wrong about being in your masculine energy. We need both. We need our masculine and feminine energy. And just to share real quick what that even means is masculine energy is more of the doing, taking action, setting plans, thinking. Masculine energy is great. You need masculine and feminine energy. Feminine energy is not doing nothing. It's more receiving, nurturing, listening. You could get into your sexual energy, dancing, creativity, painting. So it's more of the receiving energy. And you need a balance in both. You have to build a business, you have to be in your masculine energy. And then to lean back is being in your feminine. So it also goes in all areas. Like men need to also be in their feminine energy, to hear their woman when she's in her feelings, to it's a balance. So it's not like male, female, it's energy, but it makes us confused when we say masculine and feminine energy. So sorry, I wanted to share that, but what was your question?
So my question was share your journey. How did you get to the point that you realized that, and how did you work on yourself to get yourself to the point that you can teach others about empowering your feminine energy?
Yes, this is a great story. So I'm a sex, intimacy, and marketing coach. They all kind of blend together now that I've done it for so long. And I am raised in Utah. So very religious. It can come off judgmental. I was raised in a very, very small town. So lots of judgment, shame. And even though my mom did a really good job of being like, hey, who you want to be yourself. I still felt the judgment of like sexuality and sexiness. And I feel like kind of as a kid growing up, I always loved dancing and like winking, and I was a cheerleader. And I felt the judgment and shame just wearing short shorts or being sexy and around sex. And so I grew up with a lot of that shame. And once I got into, I think it was after college. Yeah, it was after college. I started doing shadow work around a woman, which I bring up in my TEDx talk, but I started judging women when I was like getting more into my sexuality and being free. And I noticed I was judging one of my girlfriends of being open and free and sexual. And then I looked up shadow work and did some shadow work, which is kind of like healing the triggers and bringing your shadows to the light. So that's kind of how I got into it, was healing my shame, and along this like over a decade journey, just realizing how important it is to really be free in your sexuality, and it helps you be more confident.
Yeah, I think the best healers are the ones who heal themselves, right?
Yes.
And the fact that you are from Utah, to be honest with you, I don't know any sex educators out there who are from Utah. And I have a very funny story. I went to Utah for a business trip to sell sex toys a few years ago, right? So basically, I was there to visit the stores, to do like sex toy training. And I went to this Mormon church just to see like architecture and just, take pictures.
Oh, the temple?
Yes, the temple that is right there in Salt Lake City in downtown.
Yeah.
And I went there, and two nuns, for some reason, they were impressed with my outfit, and they started like talking to me, started asking me questions. Yes, where I'm coming from, like, where did I get this clothes, blah, blah, blah. And they said, we really like your style. Can we follow you on Instagram?
Yeah.
And on Instagram, by that time, I had how to clean your butt before anal sex, right? Like, and all of these usual topics for my channel. Yeah. And I saw how their face changed, and they just looked like this. And okay, we'll be right back. And then they disappeared and they never came back.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that you could distinguish where you were coming from and who you are, because like I'm also from a conservative background in Russia, and nobody really encouraged me to build a career in this industry. With 2 degrees and 2 universities, I still decided this is what I want to do for life. I want to heal people because I healed myself. Yeah. So yeah, big respect. And now about this concept of feminine and masculine energy, because again, like I wasn't a believer until maybe like a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that I had basically the balls, in any relationship, whether it's friendship or it's something sexual. I went to Kundalini yoga class, and after that, my perception of man, relationships, love, everything just changed like 180 degrees. Because if before I was like a guy who was just looking for sex but nothing serious, and I was fine in this dynamic for maybe like 4 or 5 years, and then after this Kundalini class, I couldn't help myself, because I was like, it was so easy to make me cry. I was like, I was I was feeling everything. I was feeling pain, I was feeling happiness, but it was like a spectrum of emotions that were blocked before. And then I fell in love like crazy. And yeah, and that's how I realized, okay, something is up. So yeah. I came to my yoga teacher and I said, what the is going on? And she goes, oh, I didn't tell you that Kundalini is not just a yoga practice. It also has this benefit of empowering you in your feminine energy. And I said, okay, like take it back now. Take it back.
I'm done with these emotions.
Because it was intense, for somebody who didn't really feel it that much before. It was intense. So basically, feminine energy is receptive, it's empathy, compassion, it's creativity, creativity, intuition, while masculine is like planning, logic, right? So it's go-getter energy, goal-oriented energy. But how about like women like us who combine both, right?
Yeah, it's not easy. Like,
Okay.
I will
Thanks
tell
for
you
being
this,
honest.
I am not just always in my feminine energy. It's a balance. And the reason why I love to teach high achieving women, type A females, is because I understand the struggle. Whereas if I were to go hire a feminine energy coach who's always been in her feminine and like she was never like that type A person, she's not going to really understand the depth of struggle. Where there are some women that are just way more feminine in nature. They just receive, they are nurturers, they are not really that action takers. I prefer to work with the type A women because they're like, oh my gosh, I've noticed what is wrong with me. There's something wrong. I want to fix it. And so first, like some of the signs are like being too in your masculine is when let's say you're in a relationship, you always want to like take the initiative. You feel like you have to set the plans, you have to set the date. You constantly find yourself like nagging or trying to control. Nothing's like correct. He's not doing it right if you're in a male, female. And you find yourself not feeling like you can share your emotions. You aren't able to get into your emotions and be vulnerable and open. Those are some big signs. And sorry, like how to share that. And getting into your feminine energy is our natural state. It's going to feel a little hard at first, but once you get used to it, the balance is powerful. I like to call it like feminine magnetism because you use it in business, in love, in relationships, even in my podcast, of when we can lay out the structure to feel safe or in our flow, in our creativity, everything is a little bit more balanced and natural, and you attract success, you attract podcast guests, you attract the sexiness, you attract the things in your life when you're in your feminine energy. Yeah.
So let's draw a line here between laziness and thinking that you own a man and they are supposed to do something, right? And between just attracting, because to be honest with you, for example, in Russia, there is a very famous coach, dating coach, and he has like huge following on YouTube.
Yeah.
And he's dollar millionaire because he educated a lot of women on how to get everything you want from men without doing anything. And
Yeah.
this was his message, right?
Okay.
So like, how do we draw this line between attracting and just taking advantage of men?
Okay. So I don't know if you've ever heard of the book Queen's Code. I make my clients read. I don't make them. They hire me. I recommend this book. So I'm giving you a secret that I share with my clients. And feminine energy can be like, if you're really good at getting into your feminine energy, yes, you can kind of manipulate men in this feminine energy, because it's so like attractive and and you understand how the masculine energy works. I don't teach manipulation. I teach us using it for love and care and nurturing and to have a balanced relationship. So yes, that can be on that like manipulation. I just don't teach that. So yeah.
Yeah, because like I think if we expect somebody to go and do that for us and make money for us and build our business for us, then what about self-realization, right? Like just taking advantage of some stupid guy, this is not the goal and the achievement of the lifetime, right?
Yeah. No, I am all about, I will still be working. Let's just say I married a millionaire. I would still be doing my podcast, doing my message, being in my purpose, still working towards my goals. Feminine energy is not just sitting around and doing nothing. It's not a man just controlling everything. That's not what it is. It's a balance. And as you're more in your feminine energy, men or the person in their masculine energy will desire to provide, desire to step up for you, hold space for your feelings. You will feel safe, connected. So I just want to make that clear.
When I was planning to marry a millionaire, yeah, I didn't feel that anything changed because like I was still doing everything and even more than I was supposed to, but didn't work out.
Yeah.
So, okay, so another thing that you mentioned, right, that when the initiative is coming from a woman, that kind of makes her more in this masculine spectrum, right? But for example, when we are talking about initiative in sex, right? I don't know about you, but for me, it's like that. Like, it's always kind of like a mind whether I should initiate sex or not. Because on one hand, I understand that with the profession I have, maybe not every man will be confident enough to put it on the table in the first place, right? And then if I spend like 1, 2 months, 3 months going out with him, spending my time with him, and then I realize, okay, this sex doesn't work like at all, and it will never work. So now I've lost 3 months of my time and this thing didn't work out. So the question is, like, when we initiate sex, are we pursued as a chaser by men?
No. So let me like change this. Okay. So first of all, I believe that women should put effort for sex to happen. I believe that it should not always be on the man. If you want sex in the relationship, men get a little tired over time. Like women, they want you to initiate sex sometimes. In that verbiage, they want you. And I think it's healthy in a relationship to also show that your man that you also pursue him. It'll make him feel good. So I think there should be a balance. It doesn't have to be like 50-50, but I think that women should initiate, but I'm going to change that word. So we don't need to initiate and be in our masculine. Okay?
Okay.
We get in our feminine, our playfulness, our feminine magnetism, and they will initiate. So I'm going to give you some ideas of how to get into your sexy feminine magnetism so it attracts the sex. It attracts, you kind of initiate, but they're still going to feel like they went after you.
So you do it on an energetical level, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's more of like playfulness. Okay, so here's some ideas. And I did this last weekend. So I kind of like got into my feminine energy, kind of like, okay, I'm not going to initiate. I'm not going to start this, but I'm going to like kind of make it happen. So I put on sexy lingerie. I like put it under a robe. My man was cooking dinner, and like I knew I wanted sex, but I didn't want to initiate. I wanted to like kind of like have him initiate. So after we ate, I wore the robe. So he didn't know that I was wearing lingerie after. And so after, I was like, oh, look at my outfit. And I kind of just like did a little dance, kind of like teased him a little bit. You could like walk around in your robe. You could take your towel off. You could walk around in lingerie. You could just be playful. Get into that playful, fun energy. Like teasy, playful, like, oh, you look so handsome. Like go back to when you first met. Like, how did you get them excited for intimacy? You kind of like played a little like tease. You like touch their knee, kind of like build it up, get them excited, touch, dance. You could flirt with them. So this will attract them to then initiate.
Okay, but you are talking about the situation when the man is already there at your home and you're already dating.
Yes.
I'm talking about the new man, like brand new man.
New man.
Yeah.
Okay. Same thing. I mean, I think it's easier when it's a new man because you can look in their eyes, smile, touch, be playful, flirt, lean back. Okay. So whenever I'm struggling to be in my feminine energy and I'm like, oh, I want it now. I'm impatient. I want to do something. This is taking too long. What you do physically is lean back. Like, practice this. If you're a high achieving woman, practice leaning back when you're getting into your masculine, like trying to do. We go forth with our chest. So lean back, settle, breathe, and ask yourself, like, how could I lean back more? How could I allow them to come to me more? What could I do? Really listen. So listening really helps get into your feminine energy. So when they're talk, don't say words, don't interrupt them. Listen completely. Listen to them. Look at them in their eyes. Fully listen. Allow more space for them to come to you. Tease, touch, same thing. Laugh. I would just, like touch their shoulder. You could touch their knee. You can like touch your ear. Like, men are very visual. So even if like touching your collarbone, like, just a little bit of flirtation. Mm-hmm.
Those are some really great tips. Yeah, so basically now high achieving and high earning women are sometimes lonelier than ever, right? And when you take away from the man this responsibility to provide, do you think something switches off in their brain? Because with a career, one way or another, at some point, you get to the money, right?
Yeah.
How it affects their perception of a feminine woman and their self-confidence in the first place.
Yeah. So being a provider definitely will change the feeling of a man. Like, just let's talk masculine energy, a man. He wants to feel like he's a provider. Okay. Keep this in mind, ladies. He wants to feel like he's a provider. So yes, if he's struggling to provide, then it will affect his masculine energy. He may not feel as strong or as like a provider or like as successful. In a relationship, it's up to you to allow him to provide in other areas. So when you're in your feminine energy, it's not telling him, take out the garbage. That does not initiate his like provider sense. That is you telling him what to do. Okay, so take notes, ladies. This is like one of the tips that I share with my clients. Do not say that. Do not dictate. Do not control. Do not castrate. Instead, show him how he can provide for you and what that will do for you, and connect to your feelings. So what that is, an example, is instead of take out the garbage over and over, it's like, hey, when you take out the garbage, it makes me feel really supported and safe, and I really appreciate it. And then they want to provide that for you. Or like another example is like, I would really appreciate if you could take out the garbage for me. It would mean so much to me and help me feel supported and safe, and just like I can be my feminine energy.
That's very interesting to look at this from this perspective, that it's also depends on how we approach it. But do you think that overall tendency with men getting softer and women taking like high position? I mean, we can just look at the situation we have right now in the United States of America, where out of 300 million people, only one woman with the balls, who used to be a prosecutor and now she's a candidate for the president of the United States, is ready for the job, right, from the Democratic Party. So I mean, I think it tells us a lot about like how the world has changed, because like 20 years ago, nobody would even think that that would be possible. With women who are achieving their career in their masculine energy, and with men getting softer, how do we actually distinguish men that just don't want to be in this masculine energy anymore, and they are okay with women being in control, with women providing, and with men who are just need to be approached differently?
Yeah, so that's all a choice. So if you are a female and you have high drive, high masculine energy, and you want to be the provider, you want to be the dictator, you want to be in that masculine energy. Like there's a balance where we all have both, but if you want that, then you're going to also have to be open to their feelings. Then the dynamics will change. That is okay. Okay? Then find that type of man where he's going to be sharing his feelings, you're going to be holding space. Like there's a back and forth. You can also go back and forth. I do this with my boyfriend. We go back and forth. But if you are a high achieving CEO like woman and you desire to be in the feminine energy in your relationship, you're gonna have to learn how to get into your feminine energy and switch that after you work.
Okay, so now...
And it's hard.
Yeah, now we are getting into the most important question. How can this high achieving, high earning women tap into their feminine energy? And I assume that just being a woman by birth is not enough, even though people say the woman is a source of creation and this is enough. I guess that not.
I struggle with this. Like on days that I'm like conquering my to-do list, taking action, getting in the flow, like just go in that more like masculine energy space of like do. Take it off the list. I get in this like high drive, like just like I'm doing it. And then after because me and my boyfriend are now like living together for a minute, and I have to have a break or space to then come down from that energy. Otherwise, he feels it. He's like, whoa, like, you need a second? Like, because we talk about this stuff. He's like, for him, he's like, do you want some THC? So that's a thing that helps me. I hate smoking. It hurts my throat so bad. But I've tried these new like THC drinks, and that helps me relax. So some steps to get into that feminine energy, like say you're getting off from a long day, you need space. You need a little bit of space to like get out of that energy, like allow some time to like sit back, relax, breathe, tap into your feminine energy. And people do it in different ways. There's like dancing, like I said, there's leaning back into like, maybe you could do Kundalini yoga. You could take a dance class. That's what I love to do. Breath work, doing some deep breathing exercises, relaxing. Also, mushrooms kind of calm me down. So I also like recreational type drugs to help me calm down. It helps me get into my feminine energy. So there's different tactics, but overall, the reason why people hire me is because it's not that easy to switch that on and off. It takes practice. It takes learning a new way to communicate. It's like a whole process. Like I've worked with someone for 3 months. We're going on our 4th month. We're still working on it and practicing it. It's like a step you can try today, ladies, is to be vulnerable, is to share your feelings with someone, is to, when you're in this like stressed mode, I can't take it, ask for help. And that was the hardest thing for me. Is that hard for you?
To accept my vulnerability, sometimes yes, because a lot of times when I was vulnerable with my ex-boyfriends, with my ex-fiancés, for some reason they thought that this is the time for them to be in power and now they can do whatever they want, so they would hurt me like even more. So yeah, that wasn't like necessarily always helpful, but what I like to do is when something happens, like some heartbreak or I don't know, some complete shit happened in my life, and I just give myself time. For example, let's say I will be crying, eating, drinking wine, and taking THC to return in my feminine energy for 2 or 3 days. But after that, the day number 3, I'll get up, I'll do yoga at 9:30, and then I'll be doing this, and that. So I have a plan, and I allow myself to be vulnerable within like specific period of time.
Yeah.
But actually, that's a good question. Let's even like look into how do we understand whether we have dominant feminine or masculine energy? Because I asked this question to my therapist a few years ago, and she told me, because I was like 100% sure that I didn't have much of this feminine energy because I had like really a lot of responsibility that not every man could handle, to be honest with you. She told me, okay, so take your hand and put it on your crotch.
Yeah.
Is it hot? I said yes. And she said, okay, then that's fine. You have it. So
That's funny.
Yeah. So please tell us about your methods.
I think you could ask your partner. How are you phrasing things? Are you dictating? Are you controlling? Are you taking the initiative? Are you always feeling like you're the one that has to lead? Like, I feel like just answering those questions, you're going to know. Or are you leaning back? Are you listening? Are you nurturing? Are you being vulnerable? Are you receiving? Like, that's just asking yourself those questions, you'll know. It's a balance. Like, over and over, it's a balance. I have to be in my masculine energy to get shit done and build a business. But what I've found is tapping into that feminine energy in business, in life, in relationships, in sex is like our secret weapon. Like, I'll lay the strategies, I'll email the podcasters, I'll take initiative and talk to people. But when I like flow, when I allow myself to follow my intuition, tap into my intuition, follow like those instincts, listen to my feelings and follow it versus the thinking mind of like, okay, this is a good example where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to get a client. What am I going to do? I did all the things. Okay. I did all the things on my to-do list. And I'm like, I didn't get a client. And then I'm like, what can I do to like get into my flow, chill, get into my service? I went to a play party and then I was just like connecting and hanging out, talking to people, trusting my intuition. And then this woman I talked to, I had the intuition to talk to her about my business coaching. And then we talked and I was like, hey, like, okay, now step into that, like share with her what I do. I got a client that night. So that's like doing
mix of pleasure and work.
Yes, like it's like a mix. It's a dance. We need both. And it's not bad if you're more in your masculine. To be honest, right now I'm in more of my masculine stage, like this month, because I have a lot of stress. So I have like moving and like finding like where to live, and I have all these like to-do lists. I'm doing a lot more. So taking my dance classes, trusting my intuition, allowing flow time is very important for me. Having space before like me and my partner do something, the CBD drinks, honestly, like ketamine therapy and things like that could help you if you really struggle to be in your feminine. It helped me a lot to really get into that like slowed down feminine energy of like receiving and relaxing. And then I found the deliciousness of it. And I was like, you can like practice it with different modalities, and then you can feel what it feels like, and then do that sober.
California sober here.
Yeah, California. We're all California sober. We're like, oh yeah, we do ketamine therapy and CBD and mushrooms.
Yeah, like I've known about the potential of ketamine even before this whole thing was like legalization and not legalization, but the ketamine clinic started, because yeah, I mean, that's a very interesting substance that can uncover a lot.
Yeah, I love it.
If it's not abused.
Yes. It's really helped me with sex. Like, I'm a very like, go fast, not patient. So when I took ketamine, it really helped me turn off my mind and get into my body and really slow down. Like, my partner's like, he likes to go slow, and I'm used to all my partners being like fast and fucking and doggy style. And my partner now is like slow and intimate and wants to start really slow. And I was like, oh my God, this is a struggle. But when I was on ketamine, it really helped me like lean back and like feel everything, like go slower than you think, like it's gooey, like slowing. And then I fell into that energy and I was able to like, let's just go there. I was able to give him like a really slow blowjob and like really just kind of like surrender and open up. And then because I did that on ketamine, I was able to do that now without it. Like I was able to take that like slowness, juiciness, pleasure, feeling every moment into my body, get used to that, and then do it sober. And it's like changed our sex life.
Yeah, it's all about like having an experience that you can then relive, because I have some gurus, yogis, and they've been telling me, look, like you really don't need anything. You can just breeze into that. You can get high as you want if you put your mind to it. So yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's
So I know it's a juicy. I can like picture it. I go back to that place and relive it. But yeah, I help my clients tap into all these things. Like I have a course that walks you through all these steps. It's not the easiest thing to just go do it on your own, because you have all these habits and all these habits of how you communicate, how you live your life, how like it's like an 8-week course, and I help you like get out of your old habits and your shame and your judgment and your masks. Those also put you in your masculine of hiding. And then tap really into your pleasure, your turn on, how to activate that sexy energy, because your sexual life force energy is powerful, and tap into it, how to use it, how to like turn on yourself, your body, your mind, and just get into that feminine energy, how to communicate better. So I go through this in like months of process to help women learn it, practice it, and then be able to do it for a longer period.
And you mentioned dance as one of the ways,
Yes.
right? You do teach pole dance.
Yeah, I teach pole.
Okay, so as a starting point for somebody who wants to empower their feminine energy, something like pole dance or yoga, meditation, we should write
breath
down
work.
as our steps number 1, 2, 3, and or you can attend your consultations or buy your course, right? So before we wrap it up, could you please explain us how women in this hustle culture can avoid burnout and prioritize the self-care? Because sometimes we have so much responsibility that we simply don't have time to do all of the things that you just mentioned.
Yeah. To do that is prioritizing pleasure. Prioritize pleasure. Start your day with pleasure before you do anything. This is such a hard thing to do as like a type A high achieving woman, like go. We're putting our pleasure to the side. We're putting our fun to the side. I'm not saying like self-pleasure. I'm saying pleasure as in it could be reading a book. It could be going outside. It could be doing like a little 30-second dance party. Prioritize your pleasure to avoid burnout. Prioritize having a day of flow day. I have Wednesdays are my flow day. Like tapping into what do I want to do today if I had no appointments, no like structure. I'm like flow. Often those days are like fun, and I do the most posts, and I meet people, and I go out and I get in like energized. So prioritizing flow and play and pleasure is the best way to avoid burnout and take a motherfucking break. Like take a break for yourself and just chill and do something for yourself. So yes, very important.
And we shouldn't try to be perfect all the time, right? Because a lot of when you are high achieving and when you have a career or business, most of the times you are a perfectionist, right?
Yeah, we can get in our perfectionitis for sure.
So how to accept the fact that you're not supposed to be perfect? You can
take the action, do the things, lean back. It's difficult, but find a stopping point. I like to write my accomplishments down for the day and look at it and be like, okay, I did make accomplishments. I can lean back now and allow space And then often for my brain, I'm like, okay, if I rest today and I fully just soak up this like lazy day or I'm tired, most likely I will be more productive tomorrow. I also learned that taking my pole dance classes, I didn't used to allow myself to because I was like, I don't deserve it. I don't have enough time. I have to make more money. But what I learned is when I prioritized my pole dance classes and paid for that, I made more money. Why? Because I allowed my flow. I had a break. I got into my happy joy. And so that amped me up and I was more productive. I made more money. So kind of like switching that brain, your thinking process on that is crucial and it will help you make more money and be more productive.
You don't deserve pole dance. Oh my gosh, girl, you're hard on yourself.
Right? I know, I really didn't. I was like, I'm not making enough money. And yeah, that was a really masculine time of my life. And guess what? I made the least. I did all the things and I made the least. And that's why I teach, honestly, one of my courses is called Pleasure to Profit. It's like how to turn your passion, pleasure, and power into profit. But if you're interested in working with me, is it okay if I share how they can?
Yes, please.
Okay, well, follow me on Instagram, sexybizbabe. I love to talk to people. If you have any questions about feminine energy, I would love to hear it. And if you want to book a session with me, or I have my Sexy Goddess course, it takes you through the steps of getting into your feminine energy, breaking out of shame, owning your sexy, and having better sex. And I'm on levelupwithtia.com. So I'd love it if you reached out to me. And it's such a powerful flow and energy to be able to balance both.
Yeah, we'll leave a link for all your social media and your site in the description. And thank you guys so much for tuning in today. And I hope this podcast will help you to embrace your feminine energy, trust yourself, trust your intuition, trust your inner wisdom, because this inner wisdom is within you and the power is within you as well. And I'll see you next time in Bed with Kate.